Hey, welcome back, guys. Yesterday's post was insanely successful, so thanks for everyone who checked that out. I hope everyone learned something. I hope I'm doing a service to the community for getting across the impact and profound nature of what is going on right now. It is absolutely massive. Movies will be made about the last couple days. Today, I want to actually talk about a couple things. We're going to talk a little bit about the market manipulation that happened yesterday, that's actually continuing to happen today, and we're going to talk about the impact that that has on places like Robinhood and the government involvement, senators and the SEC now, and class action lawsuits, because it's 100% illegal what's going on right now. The other thing I really want to hit on today is something called a short interest ratio. So we're going to learn about that. But first, I would need to say that I am not an investment advisor, that none of this is investment advice, and that you are free to do whatever you want with your money. And I actually suggest that people stay far away from Gamestop stock as possible, because this is very risky and you're most likely to lose every penny that you put into this. So with that being said, let's get on with the show. Okay, now I could keep this information to the end of my video and wait, make people watch the whole thing, but I really want people to get, if anything, if you're only going to watch 3 minutes of this video, I want you to learn about this. We're going to talk about what short interest ratio is. Now, a short interest ratio is basically where you look at the total short position that everyone has, how many shares of short position, which is roughly now about 61 million shares that are shorted in a short position. Now, this doesn't account for a whole bunch of things like those naked shorts that I talked about yesterday. So this is pretty much a minimum number of shorts that are out there. And then you compare that to the volume of shares that are moving on a day-to-day basis. And then that's your short interest ratio. So what that essentially means is, if those people had to close out their short positions, what's the volume of shares that are trading at on a day-to-day basis, and how long would it take them to close that out? Just a quick little illustrative example for what that actually is. So this is taking a real world example. So you're Melvin Capital and you're out on your 7th yacht, and you're getting famished because the day sun is beating down on you, and you haven't had your dolphin steak yet. Now, there's only one existing dolphin left in the world, but it's at the bottom of the ocean, and you got to go kill it because that's just what you do. So you're going to strap all your money to yourself because you're a greedy. You don't want anyone taking your money. So you strap all your money bags to yourself and you go diving for that last dolphin. Well, you get down there and you finally kill him. Now you've got 100 million bags of money strapped to your body and you have to get up. How quickly can you unstrap those bags of money? If you can pull one bag of money off a day and you have 100 bags of money, right now the short interest ratio is at roughly standing at about 2 days, which means if these people want to close out their short positions, they literally have to sit there buying every single stock that gets put up on the exchange for 2 days. So what's this telling you? This is telling you that even though this is a bubble and even though this is going to come down, they are still over leveraged on their shorts. There's not enough supply out there for them to close their short positions. And there's actually so much of it compared to the volume that it's going to take them days to actually clear this out. So if you're looking to get into this, there's still time. I don't recommend you do, obviously, disclaimer, but there's still time, and you don't have to be sitting there worried about the fact that this thing's going to fall that fast. It might fall that fast in terms of the price, but this short squeeze is not done, and that's the important thing. That means that if it does fall, that's actually just a buying opportunity for people to buy back in and maintain this short squeeze on people. Okay, so now we're going to talk about quickly the difference between calls and the difference between short selling, because both of those things are happening right now and they're both very important, but for slightly different reasons. Okay, right now there's about 100,000 calls that are set to expire today. And what a call is it's an option to buy. So picture a while ago when Gamestop stock was at $20 a share. You could have purchased the opportunity, the ability to buy a GameStop share for $100 a share, and it would cost you, not a whole lot of money, because you could just, if you wanted to, go buy it that day for $20. Now, there's a whole bunch of these options out there. These options are the ones that there's not necessarily a fee that's driving the person to close. They paid for the privilege to buy at that price, and they have that option if they want, and that option has a set window that's going to expire. So 100,000 of those are expiring today, which means at the end of the market, and they'll probably go towards the end of the market. At the end of the market, what that means is a lot of people will have the option to buy GameStop shares for $80, for $100, for $120, who knows, whatever they're at. That's actually important because that's going to create buying pressure on the stock, and it's going to raise the stock price. Now, that's not quite the same as the short squeeze, but it's important because it's something that's going to happen that's going to raise the stock price. So let's talk about the short squeeze. Okay, so the short squeeze is all based around the fact that there's so many short positions open and there's just not that much stock to close them out. Now, people are maybe asking and curious, is this over yet? And remember, it's going to take roughly 2 days for these people to actually close their positions if they bought every single stock that's being sold. Obviously, if the price starts rising, people are going to start putting more sell orders up just to lock in those profits, and volume is going to kick up a bit. Right now, as of noon, there's 113% float as according to S3 short site website. Now, the truth is that nobody really knows how much short float is out there. I think the most important message here is that it's not necessarily going to go today. So even though some positions are closing today, even though people are continuously closing their short positions by buying the stock, the volume that's being exchanged right now is essentially short positions closing out for the most part. I'm going to talk about that next too, though, because it's kind of also not. But regardless, it's not something that's going to necessarily happen today. So I personally believe that a buy today is probably still a good buy, still a incredible buy. But that's contingent on everybody working together and holding this stock. The more people that sell, the more people that allow these short positions to close. Okay, now one more thing that's happening right now is actually these hedge funds are actually selling stock to themselves. So there's a certain volume that's going on out there, and hedge funds want people to think that there's a lot of volume being exchanged right now. There's a lot of people who are breaking, who are selling, and what they're actually doing is hedge fund A will put in a buy price at $280 and hedge fund B will come in and buy it. And then hedge fund B has those shares. Hedge fund B will now put in a sale price at $270 per share, and hedge fund A will come back in and buy their shares right back. Now, this is, again, direct market manipulation, but again, it's just another day on Wall Street. So in this way, the current price of the share is fluctuating very wildly, and it will drop really, really quickly based on these exchanges between the hedge funds that are happening right now. So if you see the price oscillate quite a bit, I don't think it's necessarily, it should not be necessarily scary to you because really the only thing that matters is the short interest ratio being in the days time frame, and also just the amount of shorts out there still waiting to close. Now, understand that the longer that these people hold out, hoping that the price comes down, they're paying a massive interest rate to hold and borrow that short money. Right now, it's hovering between 30 to 80%, depending on the price of the stock. So right now, these people are being bled dry, and they're trying to panic people into selling and closing out. And basically, anybody who has GameStop shares right now, they have to buy your share to close. They have to buy everybody's shares because they're actually so overbought, 113, 150%, over shorted. They have to sell everybody's shares. What that means is basically, what do you want to sell it at? Set your price. Because remember, this whole thing is happening not just because it's some interesting gambling play. This whole thing is catching steam, and they're manipulating the market and literally breaking the law with the world watching them because they are pinned. They are caught. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They always do this, but this time they got punished for it. They wouldn't be breaking the law in front of the whole world watching if it was just a simple matter of them escaping and getting out of this situation. They literally cannot get out of it, and that is what makes this so beautiful. So it's important that if you invest in this and if you make money, if you want to pull the money that you put in off the table, go nuts. Don't buy the stock. Nobody should buy the stock. Again, disclaimer. But whatever you do choose to hold as whatever risk tolerance you're willing to lose completely, whatever money you want to lose completely just to fight this fight, it's really important that we hold as long as possible all together across the whole world. Because this stock price, it's at $280 right now. This stock could go to $28,000 fairly easily. It could go even higher. So this happened with Volkswagen. Volkswagen went 100 times higher than this did right now, not in terms of stock price, but in terms of market valuation and where it was at the beginning of the short squeeze and the end of the short squeeze. So these things happened before. We have metrics to kind of figure out, based on ratios and all that, how high this could particularly go. And this stock could go, and it's not memes, this could go to 5,000 to 28,000 to 50,000 and even into 5 or 6, even into six figures digits. Will most people exit at that point? Not really. Only, the super lucky people that hit those before the price comes crashing down. And again, remember, it will come crashing down. But the point is that if you're buying to hold it and you're hoping to buy a $260 share and you're hoping to sell it later today or tomorrow for $300 or $320 or $420.69, what matters is actually, obviously, that you do what you're comfortable with, but understand that this could go absolutely to the moon. And it's because they are absolutely caught in a corner. They're pinned, they're stuck, they're breaking the law to get out of it. And it's, the power is in the holder's hands right now. Okay, so this video I wanted to talk about more of the other stuff that's going on right now. It's already getting long. I had a little bit of criticism yesterday for yesterday's video that was 23 minutes. I really want to keep this as small and short as possible. I really hope that people at least get the short interest ratio information out there so that they know the timings on when this could potentially play out. But there are a couple big stories that are happening in the last couple of days. I just want to touch on them. People can go look them up and decide for themselves. So right now there's a class action lawsuit that's going on. It's being organized in New York City. Go on to Wall Street Bet subreddit and you can get more information on that. Additionally, Congress has basically written letters to get a formal investigation. And the SEC has actually decided and declared that they are going to look into the volatility of Gamestop and the actions taken by Robinhood to basically close only the buying of GameStop shares. The reason why these guys are breaking the law with the world watching is because they believe that the SEC fine that they're going to get for breaking the law is going to be much smaller than actually just losing straight up billions of dollars in their companies and all that sort of stuff, going completely bankrupt. Just to put it in perspective, there's a hedge fund named Cormac, and it was fined $800,000 by the SEC for essentially lying about a short position that it had for a full year. They were saying that they had a long position, and they were fined $800,000. So in terms of whether a company would lie about something, you bet your butt they will. If it makes more financial sense, they'll lie about it and they'll just pay the fine. And that's basically the way that this goes. It's the reason why cruise ships will actually just dump their refuge into the oceans and take the environmental fines that they get, because it's actually cheaper for them to do that than to actually properly dispose of their garbage and their waste. It's absolutely disgusting. And what's going on here is equally disgusting. The fact that they're breaking the law with everybody watching tells you just how much they have to lose. Do you break the law? if you've exited your short position, what's the motive there? What's the motive to shut down trading if Melvin Capital has already exited their short position? And it's not like we can't just see how many short positions are out there. As long as everybody who understands what's going on is holding, that's really all that matters. As long as that short interest ratio is holding at 2 days, that's all that matters. And as long as the main thing, as long as the number of shorts outstanding compared to the number of available stock float out there, as long as there's a mismatch between those things, that's all that matters. So for anyone who's reckless enough to buy, just understand that they have to buy your stock back as long as you're somewhat cognizant of when this all goes down. Just make sure you're present for when that happens, when the markets are open. Keep an eye on it. Understand that they have to buy your stock. So what do you want to sell it for? So set your price because they're stuck.